Alrighty. So, Mikito,
Mhm.
curious, why e4 in the cross Fuseki?
E4, E4. I mean, I still don't have a full grasp on the uh, points lovers Fuseki, mainly because I just need to review my own content. But
Hmm.
yeah, usually I can try and grab a corner, and I felt like this one was fine. It was facing towards C17, which there's more room on that side compared to facing Q4.
Yeah, okay, that's a good answer.
Also, Arendelle is asking for your rates.
Yep, I'm posting them.
Oh, okay.
Mm,
I forget
mm.
you're really good at looking at the chat.
Yeah, I can pop things out.
Mm.
Um, but so e4 is very typically used as a sort of influence Fuseki. So to see somebody playing for influence against the cross Fuseki, and specifically against a cross Fuseki where white played the Sansan, is very interesting to me. I'm curious to see if it'll work. Okay, so he plays this approach. This is fine. Trying to counter the influence. This is also a really good method for white to break any ladder variations that can happen off of any transpositions with f4. Um, um, but it does give black more territory out of the gate in the opening. So black should be fairly happy with this. And then in relation to this point, the Sansan can be considered to be a little bit far away. Black goes after this 4-4 point. Okay, so between A and B or C, which corner do you think is going to be the more urgent unfinished corner to play in,
Mm.
and why?
Well, already on the 3-3, it's not. It's you could almost consider a finished corner by itself. So the opening would
Well,
be more right.
they're both considered finished.
Mm. Oh, okay.
But if you're going to approach a finished corner, which approach is better, A or B? And this is a very easy question you can ask yourself.
Mm.
The territorial value of A is only in the reduction to white. White's the only player making points in that exchange.
Mm.
But the territorial value for B is in black's favor in terms of territory, in terms of points, right?
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of this is going to be determinative based on black's strategy. For example, if black plays B, and let's just say white makes the wall, black goes here. Black is going to net a certain amount of territory in the shape in the corner. And it's going to be very similar to what white nets with a 3-3 in white's corner without an extra move. Or even if white does spend maybe one extra move, right?
Mm-hmm.
Territorially, the corners are about the same. So then it's sort of like, okay, well, whose influence is going to be more productive, white's or black's? And that's going to determine who's better in that exchange overall on the whole board.
Mm.
But in general, white just gave black points, and black has the option to get ahead on points or not get ahead. If white just, like, let's say, bumps this, black makes an exchange, and then white encloses, right? What's the balance of territory look like now?
I think maybe it equaled out. I mean, white has two corners, black has two corners.
Right. And there's one differentiating factor between white and black.
White has somewhat of a foothold on a side.
Sure, but not quite what I was going with. If all things on the board remain equal, white wins. Why?
Comey.
Comey.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So somehow, Comey is hard to pay right now for you. Letting white catch up so easily, right? Comey is easier to pay if you take the free corner. And make white have to catch up. Remember, cross Fuseki tends to lend itself more towards the territory. So you're playing point lover opening, but you're playing for influence.
Yeah, no, you're right. I was gonna say taking three corners is following the points lover's ideal anyway. So.
Yeah. Here, white is trying to close the position. Actually, white could close the position better with this one. This one's also going to be useful against the M18 invasion.
One other idea that was in my mind was that C4 and E4, the wall was facing on this side. So part of me really wanted to play D13 just off the bat instead of playing D16. So if we go back,
I would think this one.
Okay, this is a question of mine because I was really curious. If he pincers, then I'm running into his K16 stone.
No, you're not. If he pincers, you're attaching to the corner and living locally.
Okay. I was gonna say,
Crosscut, settling tactic, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. That makes sense. Some tools just don't have in my set. You know what I mean? So
Right.
questions arise.
Yeah, like white could force you into the corner with some result like this, but typically speaking, this type of sealing method in a crosscut shape, this type of double Atari method, is not going to be as good for the person playing the double Atari. Originally, it was white's corner with Sansan, and now black took the whole corner and got Sente. Black wins.
Yeah, yeah,
Like black, like we're moved 27, and black's like, okay, time to finish the last part of the opening and then go to endgame as quickly as possible because white doesn't have enough.
yeah, yeah. That's pretty funny.
So just because white can't give up the corner.
So,
There's not enough center influence for white with black at e4 to give up that corner.
mm,
So if we get to the crosscut position, white needs to find a way not to do that. But if white plays this double Atari and saves the corner, black's happy with this. Because now 2 is separated. It needs to live on the side, and e4 is working. E4 is useful. And not only is e4 useful, but a is also in a weird spot in the sense that it's kind of floating and in the center, but it's not going to ever find a comfortable time to come back to the third line. And what's the contribution that it has to the game at the moment?
yeah,
So position of A becomes a little bit suspicious on the board, right? And so white's losing some value there. So yeah, if he plays pincer, you just attach and ask white the question, how do you deal with me?
gotcha. So if he
Right? If
was to
white
play the original move you put, so not the pincer, would you consider
Mhm.
this ideal for black? Because I know you don't really enjoy those
Mm,
D11, D10 moves.
but
Like,
this is about being consistent with e4 and controlling the middle more
mm,
so than trying to take points on the side. So like
uh,
you're aware white's going to invade here, but when white invades, you're attacking. This
right.
is an attacking position for you. You'll give up the one stone if need be.
Okay.
Right? So like if you can get this position, like you're happy with this. You can
So
give up the one stone.
so if I was playing, I would have not given up the stone. I would have played C11. But is that wrong? So yeah,
Here,
yeah.
I think in general, iron pillar is a very inefficient shape
Mm,
unless you're separating.
okay.
This is kind of like let's think about Tiwari for a second,
Mm,
right? If we had the variation like this, imagine white played 4, black played 5, white played 6, white played 3. Does that move order make
yeah.
sense?
No, the three stone is inefficient.
Right. So it's already bad Tiwari. Like in
Mm,
general, even this would be better.
gotcha.
Right? Because if white invaded at 4 and black played 3 and white played 6, black 5 is making sense. But even if you reverse the order of 5 and 3 and they look a little weird, in
Mm.
relation to 4 and 6, it's much better than this one.
That's a big lesson for me because this comes up all the time. So
Mhm.
it seems if it's more efficient to attack on the other side, and if you have to give up the one stone and it's not a problem, then that's
Yeah, it's because
that's
you don't
a
you
huge lesson
it
for me.
all comes down to learning that this is not territory. This is not what this means.
Mm. Hmm.
A lot
Yeah,
of the problem that the Q player run into that I find with the people I teach is that they'll look at a position like this and go, I don't know how to handle it when he invades my left side. I lose all my points. And
yeah,
it's
yeah.
like, well, your first mistake was that thinking that you had any points there to begin with.
So
You had nothing.
So that's a discussion I have with my double digit Q players all the time. I address the same thing. My idea isn't that that's going to be my territory. When he plays C9, my idea is that I'm going to have the fighting advantage here. But now you're
Yes,
kind
and
of
that's as
bringing,
it should be,
yeah, now you're bringing it
right?
even a step more forward, right? Like I
Right.
know that, yeah,
So what's the key point, right? When they invade you and you have a fighting advantage, what should you do? Give them the base or sweep the base?
yeah, right, right. Now,
So
see,
it's
I
easy to correct this mistake.
Yeah, so I normally would give them the base with the iron pillar, but
Yeah.
then stomp
Yeah.
on their head, right? Like I'd keep
Yeah.
trying to.
So this would be fine
Hmm.
if you have something you can do productive this way,
Right, right.
right? Because let's say you stomp on their head. Okay,
Hmm.
head is sufficiently stomped,
Hmm.
and let's even have white push and then escape in a very crude way.
Hmm.
Okay, what's the follow-up with your group on the left side?
Yeah, there isn't. The wall's not making any territory. No potential.
Right, and where's the attack that it's going to give you?
It stops, right? There's not an attack after that.
Right, so all it does is it contests white's influence this way
Yeah,
by exerting influence this way,
gotcha.
but it's a staring contest between the wall and the white top side. Now, if there's a value to invading with it, sure, but this black group is fundamentally also not alive.
Mm.
So that's another important concept, is that it doesn't physically have two eyes. So even if you invade, there's always a risk it gets attacked later, because it's not quite the best version of thickness it could possibly be. Maybe if we add one more stone, that changes.
Mm. Yeah,
But in terms of efficiency, it's not there because the amount of work it can do on the other side is very limited, right? So you want to play from the side you have the most work. The bottom side is wide open.
yeah.
So if I'm going to play, I want something that influences this.
Mm-hmm.
This is where I'm trying to go. This is the future.
I see
Right?
it.
Like imagine, like, let's just have this exchange on the board already, right? Like, let's say black had some position in the corner here. Whoops. Let's say black had some position in the corner like this already. And look at the direction of the attack, right? Compare this direction versus like this direction.
Mm-hmm. And this is what I would
Which,
do too. I like the diagonal jump, right? The elephant jump on top, or in this case,
yeah.
it's the knight's move. But yeah,
Yeah. And like, which case is better for black? Which case has the better prospect?
see now in my mind, I would be attacking
This
that group
one
and
or this
making
one?
profit on the bottom, but I wouldn't be
Sure.
thinking of the aftermath on the top.
Yeah, but you're doing that. You're doing that here because you don't recognize that you're pushing from a direction. You want what's behind that direction.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're pushing from the upper left, you want something on the top, not the bottom.
Right.
Because that's the direction you're developing actively by chasing and attack. But everything you're developing faces enemy stones. It's already inefficient.
That's
But in a
awesome.
position like this, if I'm chasing white, I'm developing towards free space or my own area.
Mm-hmm.
Much more efficient than doing it the other way, where I have to work against my opponent's already established position. So like this type of attack would only be useful if it helps you significantly in some way with a move around A.
Gotcha.
Like otherwise you play here and offer one stone, because this is going to be the more profitable side.
Yeah, I just want to state that this is like a huge change in my mindset on that particular position that happens very often. Like, of course,
Mm-hmm.
when I see double digit Qs handle it, a lot of times they'll kick, which helps their opponent, and I know not to do that. So that's why I would
Mm-hmm.
use the Iron Pillar.
Yeah,
But
but the
now,
iron pillar is the same fundamental idea.
yeah, fundamentally, yeah. But yeah, so either way,
Right?
this is a
Because
huge
something Yeah, because
change.
something like this, they're still getting the same result, right?
Yeah,
Look at where black is gaining all the stones,
right.
right?
And
That area wasn't so important.
and I don't know. I just really want to emphasize it myself because it's big for me. I was curious if it was big
Mhm.
for anybody else. Like that's it is what
Yeah.
it is. We can continue, but yeah, awesome.
If you teach me French swear words, but I think Aldrich's done that already, Goshi. Wow, that's a funny comment. I like that comment. But yeah, so it's the same fundamental idea, right? So like here would be a case where maybe you want 5 or maybe you want this.
Mm.
Because the direction for 5 in this case, even if he manages to get through, the direction is going to be much better for black facing the bottom side of the board, right? Even if black loses a little bit, like black's not going to die here clearly. But if black was able to, like, let's say there was something here that black was already building, you can see the difference in direction for black, right?
Hmm. Yeah, it's very
That's really just the
noticeable.
point that I want to hammer down on. You know. All right, so but yeah, this one, your D13 stone is kind of awkward without another move.
Yep.
It doesn't actually do anything on the left. Like at any point, white undermines it at A, and then its contribution This stone's contribution is this way. Or that way. It's not helping this on the left side. Right?
Yeah, yeah,
We can
yeah.
see that with that example.
Yeah, I really felt that Oda move. I do get the A stone later, but yes, I mean it's clear white can undercut it very easily,
Mhm.
break any plans of mine.
Yeah. And then A is gote,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like A is just a very soft move. It's
Pressure.
not so efficient. The diagonal exchange for the left side. Like it would normally even be better to play like this and allow the opponent even to take 2 stones.
I feel like that's a concept I don't follow enough, right? Like in theory, I'm like, oh, if they're not important, just let them die. But I don't like force my opponents to do it. Like when you attached as you did, it's forcing them to take the 2 stones, which is really nice because you're getting really thick, right?
Mm.
Yeah. So that's good. That's cool.
All right. Um, I need to delete this person 1 second.
Sure.
Yeah, so here white makes a slight overextension. This is again a very thin shape, right? So the minute you see this and you see your strong position nearby, and I say strong in the sense of not alive, but strong as in the sense of many liberties, right? Then you are always trying to be aware of how to use the cuts in this position.
Mm-hmm.
So at every point in time, you should be evaluating what is the value of the area and how can I use these cuts to my advantage. So here you cut this shape directly. This is fine. And he tanukis and plays the attachment at f4. Mm. So now white is white neglected getting h17, so there's going to be a bit of a problem when black eventually goes in against that group. Black has a couple of points of entry on the top side now, so I would argue that this exchange and then tanuki to f4 seems very strange to me. I think I would just not make the weakness and go here. Because if black plays here, the shape is awkward if white ever gets the turn, right?
Mm.
Like white can sort of settle, and black's not gaining much on the top side with 2 and 4. But after white makes this exchange, like white kind of wants another move here, whether it's this one, whether it's this one, something preemptive, prophylactic, to get ahead of black's pincer at h17 or j17. Because actually, if we look at it, let's just have white give up sente. When black plays here, if white has to respond like this, who's better in the exchange, black or white?
Black. White's really small, and black's gaining.
Right. And we can see clearly here black is making gaining exchanges, right? So um, it makes me question why this.
Mm.
And also A for B removes the liberty from 2 stones. So now black has the idea to think about some 1 and 2 switch, right?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe even black doesn't exploit this way. Maybe even black chooses to give this direction to white. Right?
Mm.
Imagine this. Or maybe even like this one. Or maybe this one. Who here is comfortable enough that they think that if they had to play me in a game, they can live on my left side?
I mean, that is really big. A fifth line move.
Yeah, it's big, but here's the key.
Mm.
Where's white's forcing moves?
Yeah, there isn't. Black's
You
powerful on
need
both
3 of
sides.
them, right? And this is different from your position last game because where are the holes?
Yeah.
Black only needs to focus on making the 8 stone stronger no matter what white invades with. The minute the 8 stone is strong, black's pushing out your eye space. So if you can't generate forcing moves inside your opponent's area, then invasion is significantly harder.
Yeah.
So this is already very efficient for black compared to white on the top side, where black has a forcing move at A, forcing move at B, forcing move at C, forcing move at D, forcing move at E, forcing move at F, forcing move at G, forcing move at H, forcing move at I, forcing move at J, forcing move at K, forcing move at L, forcing move at M. Should I keep going?
No, no. There's a
Right?
lot of cheese halls, right? A lot of cheese
Yeah,
centric.
because these are not so strong. This is the only real thick part of the white position, right? Whereas he can say black is thick, 8 is the only liability in black's position. And once white invades and black strengthens A is not gonna, or 8 is not gonna be a problem anymore. It will also get thick through the natural course of attacking the invaders. So significantly different positions, despite the fact both look like they're building Moyas. Like, can we all see like the difference here?
Yeah, yeah, it's very significant.
Hopefully that's clear for everybody in the chat. So I can move on. Quickly. Not harp on the point for too long if I don't need to. So I think doing this first and then going for this result for white is very strange. I think given the weakness on the top side, I don't really see a reason for black not to cut and play the Atari. When white extends, just connect, force the turn, and extend. Any reason why there's hesitation to go into this position?
You know, you've probably seen this position like at least 2 times, if not 3 times in my reviews. And I guess I still just don't fully understand F4. I should look up this Joseki and learn its variations. But
Yeah, it's very well. This is all shape. This isn't even necessarily like this. Joseki itself is a great shape study for the Hane shape in general. And a lot of the specific impacts are involving where the C4 stone is specifically in the shape. You can play around and change that stone's position at any point to see how it changes the variations. But in general, understanding the cut variation and understanding the bad exchange variations is sort of paramount. Even this double Hane is a move.
yeah, I was gonna say
In the shape.
this cut here. I usually don't have instincts to cut in the cross cut.
Develop those.
Yeah,
As all the strong Korean players say, the religion in Go is in cut we trust.
we trust.
And oftentimes cutting is the most powerful option, especially when you have the local advantage. You have 3 stones to 2. Power, right? This your connection is not a bad move. It's solid for the corner, but it's submissive. This is playable only when you want Sente to play in another urgent area that your opponent can't really play in first. Because otherwise, in this shape, this specific series of exchanges, white usually considers this to be a good exchange and is happy with playing Tanuki. There are rare circumstances where white will connect or white will extend. Or white may even choose a tiger's mouth of some fashion, or this one. But in general, white can play A for B and be perfectly content with ignoring from that point. Why? Because nothing that black plays on the bottom is going to come with any big meaningful Sente, right? Like if you pincer, I pincer. Where's the profit? I've already reduced the bottom with these exchanges, right? All they have to do is exist and your bottom is gone. So they're light. I don't need to save the forcing moves.
That's definitely the difference between where you're at and where I'm at. Because almost 9 times out of 10, I would play G4, right? I'd save that weakness.
But you're heavy. Now I attack you. And G4 would make some sense if there's still a weakness against the Blackstones you can exploit via the Hane. But that doesn't exist here either. You get Hane and then peep. Right? And then if you attach, you get extended. And if you defend the shape like this, you get peeped. Or you get clamped. Right? And this is a very common fighting shape that spills out. But there's nothing you can do against the corner. The corner is thick. So why are you going to make heavy group against thickness, right? Play away from thickness. Let black play near the thickness. You don't care about it anymore. You've already confined black to the corner. It's doing its job. You're efficient. Defend. Ask black a question against 3 stones. Right? Because if black happens to ignore this, right, let's just say black plays away, this is very powerful for white.
Yeah, well, black's become a weak group now.
Yeah, so here, like, I think it's appropriate for white to be returning to the top side. Because the job is already done now. White can be very satisfied here for this.
So, can you show me that cut variation one more time?
This one?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, cut and then Atari, and if white extends, then you can push from the corner, or you can connect. And then this is mostly just going to be white pushing, playing the free Atari, forcing the connect, push, 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 push. And then once white is alive, white will do it.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe white does like this one or something, wherever white wants to go. But in this variation, white's got the 3 heavy stones on the outside, black is thick in the corner, and black just built a wall towards the center and forced white down to the second line.
Gotcha. With
And
the
if white wants to try to switch, we can see white's switching method, this one, right? Then black can simply play like this, take the ko, force the connection here, take, take. Give your stone a purpose.
see,
Now the stone has some stopping power. There's something to attack, right?
yeah,
So now if white comes back and defends, then black can be very happy going after this group.
I'm gonna take a lot of time to study this hitting on the head of the 2 stones because I use this open door all the time, the E4 and the C4.
Mm-hmm.
So I need to really
Right.
get a grasp on that.
Yeah. So here, I think this one you looked at the left side and went, "Ooh, left side." Actually, this is the main reason why this is a mistake is because in this shape, white goes here, and then how do you answer?
Hmm. For me, I would push down at C11, but yeah,
Yeah, and then I jump.
then you jump. Yeah, so now even if the territory's not looking nice.
Right. And then you can think like in the future, right? Like peep and then push and then cover
Mm-hmm.
is very common. Or if you try to break, then in the future there's cut. Right. And so white's got a plethora of fault. Like this is a very annoying shape.
Mm.
Like, so when you're gonna leave that type of weakness behind anyway, then it's usually better to like whenever you're making a move to close an area, you always want to do it from the perspective of where do I want to leave my weakness? What's the most attractive weakness to leave?
Yeah, so the variation you showed me is the B13.
Yeah.
Giving up
You
stones.
want you want yeah, you want your weakness to be usually inside in an area that you're strong in, right?
Mhm.
Not outside. You're strong, but your weakness is on the outside. This is easier for white to exploit because he doesn't have to go into the area. He can approach it from the center
Yeah.
where you don't have a good chance to counter. Like if you try to counterattack, you can sort of see that that's going to end in failure. Right. So yeah, so in this case, I think you just have to recognize, okay, defend your position by moving to the top. And then when you want to defend later, you can do it via the attachment and block. And then either you sack 3 stones, or if you do block, you're prepared to deal with the ramifications of this fight.
Mm.
Right?
Mhm.
But you can set up for this fight ahead of time by attacking this first.
Yeah, because you'll get
Because
something on the top anyway, right? Using
right,
this thickness. Yeah, it's nice.
right. And where the way you play against the top should be derivative based on what you need to do next. So if the goal is going to be to play A without risk of cutting at B, then what are we trying to do? Well, we're trying to stabilize the D17 stones by attacking the top, and the key here is that we do it by sente. So when you're reading the variation, you want to find the way that does it and gives you sente at the end of it so that you can go back and block and then have the good position where white's cut is not effective, right?
Mm.
As opposed to sort of single purpose move that is also not really
Yeah.
meaningfully sente.
Yeah.
Like at this point, white should just be happy to Hane connect because if black connects at this point, white plays here and then this,
Mm.
or here and then this, and all of a sudden, all of white's problems are gone.
Something similar happens like this. Yeah.
Right? So, and black does it, or white does it without making the black shape stronger in this case, this way.
Mm.
So white leaves these weaknesses open so that in the future, white can exploit weaknesses like A and B, or in some cases, even C.
Yeah, I think I talk to my students, double-digit Q players, a lot because their soft moves to me are obvious, but then when you review my games, you make my soft moves look obvious. So I definitely have to be
Right.
more aware of that. Pressure is always the key, right? Sente is always the key.
Right. Sometimes sente is bad,
Mm.
but when sente is necessary to get to the next place, then yes. Sometimes delaying the initiative and giving it to your opponent for a tempo is actually the right call strategically, because you need them to play somewhere first to have an even better initiative after.
Mm.
And so here, White is again still sort of missing the point. White's doing a lot of manual work. He fixed your shape, and now D11 is no longer a thing.
Mm.
And so he has to reduce with F7, but this move leaves a long-term weakness. And that long-term weakness is in that Black is able to cut the shape like this. And the only moves Black really needs to consider here are these three. Or technically, I guess these five. The Z shape are White's natural answers to capture the stone, and each one of these leaves a different weakness,
Mm.
right? So Black can aim for the cut when Black has established enough Aji to use all of the weaknesses in the position. But you can, in this case, when the board is wide open, you can also just play this, because White's got the burden of choosing the best defense, and no matter which way White defends, Black is going to get something somewhere. So,
Mm.
for example, if White defends with this move, where's the weakness?
H6.
Right, Black can extend.
Mm.
And then afterwards, Black can aim for this move, right?
Mm.
So this is the H6 primary weakness, leaving this weakness left over. The follow-up, right?
Yeah, and
If White defends with the Knight's move, where's the weakness?
I mean, that one to me is harder to find, but I would have played H6 again.
Yeah, also H6,
Okay.
right? Break the table shape.
Yeah.
And now the follow-up weakness is the cut and the diagonal.
Gotcha.
You have a double threat.
Mm-hmm.
White's shape is thin, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if White's not careful, then White is going to begin getting surrounded, and Black is going to move out at White's expense.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, White's getting cut, right?
Yes.
And if White happens to defend the bottom side first, then White might just get cut anyway, right? Because White has to handle both sides. Black only has to handle one group. White has to handle two groups, right? So yeah. All right, this one. What's the weakness?
I mean, for this,
Think
I would
about
have to read
what
the
is
loose ladder, right?
right. That's the key, right? You read the
Yeah.
loose ladder,
Mm-hmm.
and where does it go from here?
White would push down one more time, I believe, and then White would turn, and then I think White's in trouble.
Right.
Yeah.
So again, H6, right?
yeah. Yeah.
And if White defends with Atari, what's the weakness?
Well, I'd read this ladder. So
Right.
yeah.
What if Black plays 7, forces the capture, then invades?
Yeah, that's good
Right?
for Black. The two exchanges.
Yeah, so 7 makes A more valuable and gives you the follow up at B.
Yeah.
Right? So
the idea is
and
that you can get cut here, but it's a headache for White.
yeah. Yeah, and then if White defends with this Knight's move, what's the weakness?
That I don't see as often, but I would assume that it would be G7.
G7 is 1 for sure. This is a fight, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there's actually another weakness. Are you ready?
It's not the diagonal, is it?
Diagonal is also 1, sure.
Yeah,
but this I categorize this the same as this one.
Okay, right.
Right? Because it's kind of like the same thing. Like if White goes like this and then connects, the only difference is where the location of the 10 stone, the 8 stone will be.
Yeah.
In one variation, it's here on the outside, but in the other variation, it's going to be like this.
Right. I always
Right?
found that at least usually the computer likes the push more than the diagonal.
Yeah. That's because this exchange can be good for White if White can extend.
Yeah.
White gets to fix the shape here. Whereas if we get push, Hane extend, connect, there's still the weakness left over here.
Gotcha.
On this point that's easier to exploit. And so the actual last weakness is just this one.
You know what? I was gonna guess F8 because you've been using the nose a lot.
No, and then in this position, this is the weakness because after the cut and the net, the Hane is Sente.
Nice, yeah.
And then after this, the attachment is Sente. And then you can extend or you can connect back. Right? Many different ways. Or like this, and then this. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So always there's weaknesses that you're going to be able to exploit. Some might require more setup than others in some cases, but the problem with this move is that there's the cut, right? And if he tries to protect the cut in some way like this has its own series of challenges. For example, what if I go here?
You know, I'm looking at this shape, and this comes up often, right? When somebody does a two-space jump from their 3 stones here. So this weakness is this is always ever present, huh?
Yeah, this is how you cut a 2-space extension.
I never usually double Hane when I'm gonna get cut, but I see
Yeah,
now
well,
that
that's yeah.
yeah, I
You're
see.
the strong one. You're the strong one in the corner.
Hmm.
So you have to think about cut quality, right? When you cut your opponent, what's the condition of the 4 groups involved?
Hmm.
If it's the condition where white has to handle 2 weak groups and you only have one that you have to handle, you can take that cut every time.
Yeah.
That's the no-brainer, right? That's the easy cut.
Hmm.
Because black has 1 problem, white has 2. That's inherently good for black. This is that same situation, right? Like if white allows himself to get cut in the traditional manner, black's already thick in the corner. So 1 and 5 part of the crosscut is already alive. 2 and 4 are not.
Right, and he has 2 weak groups. Black has one. Yeah, that's always
Right.
a good crosscut fight.
And so when white tries to bridge it, then black attacks the shape holistically from the outside. You attack the whole thing. How does white answer? If white plays like the traditional move, then I'm just easy mode, right? No more bottom side.
I was gonna say that
Bye.
was my first instinct right there.
Right? If white
Dodges.
tries to get aggressive, well then all of a sudden white's got a problem.
Mm.
Because I'm actually threatening a cut. Right? So, and if white's trying to resist the cut like this, white's starting a whole nother fight. Now both cuts are threatened. Meanwhile, what's the condition of life for black in the corner still? Can white kill?
White doesn't have enough liberties, I don't think.
Right. Not at the moment. So there's always that to take into consideration.
Hmm.
But also, even black could just simplify. And white got a group. Cool.
But black,
But
yeah,
black made points.
yeah, on both
Right?
sides. Yeah, what was White's
Yes.
potential became just a reduction now.
Right. Right. And so this Niken Tobi, while it's a viable move, white often wants more support in the center first before white plays this, because black can always, like, for example, black should now be looking at how do I take advantage of all of this?
It's so funny because I use this move all the time as in the white player, and I never
Mhm.
see anybody do this double Hane cut. What I usually see is F5, then white plays G5, and then white will like connect or bump its head, which in my opinion is
Yeah,
bad.
this would be the dream, right?
Yeah, this happens all the time
Right.
at my
This
level.
is this is
Yeah.
this is the dream. My opponent's just going to give me everything I want. He's going to willingly play Hane at the head of 2 stones. I don't have to fight for nothing. No.
Yeah.
No, 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 no. No, 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 no. And this fight's even worse for white. Make no
Yeah.
mistake. Because if white ever has to play this move or this move in this fight, tragic.
Yeah, I don't
So
think anybody at my level has they played what you showed, right? They either connect at E5 or they bump their head.
yeah.
This is big.
And that's just silly because you're already alive in the corner. You should definitely be looking for forward moving moves. And that's just good hangma.
Mm.
That's just good hangma. You always want to look for the strongest move that's going to drive the position forward for you. And if you don't find it, then play a baseline level move, but you should always be looking for that higher tier move. Okay, you encroach the area. White's going really crazy to build it. This is very interesting. White's trying to sacrifice to build the bottom. I don't think white needed to do this. I think this was fine for white. But white wants to try to use the stone to build it strong. Black can actually play Kosumi in this shape.
I was
This
gonna.
is a little Nuntesuji in this position.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I think this is the same exact position in the last game we played. In the
Mhm.
computer recommended the diagonal, and it's in my head, but I would never find that on my own.
Yeah, because it can aim at playing A, B to trap white
Mm.
in like a squeeze or a sacrifice, and it can also go into the corner, right? So like obviously we can see that if white makes these bad exchanges, this is going to be fine for black, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because once black does this and then does this, black's alive. If white wants to kill, good luck. I'm pretty much going to live here, and there's little to nothing you're going to be able to do about it. So white's clearly not going to go that route, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then how does white play? If white Atari's from B, we've got a problem. If white has to defend the inside, I cut. The corner falls. If white's defending the outside with something like this, then black has the ability to play this Atari in this empty triangle.
Mm.
White can turn, white Hane, black push, extend, and then black lives in the corner. right? So, and then even black could just, if the outside's not so valuable, black could even go about it like this.
So my question then is, what's white's best response? Because these look really good for black. Which is,
White should probably just extend
oh, I see. Okay, I was gonna
without the
say,
crossbar.
that, and it looks weird to me because I see 3 stones against the 2, so I felt like white should have the advantage in
Yeah.
this fight.
Yeah. Now here you're completely sealed in,
Mm-hmm.
and proper direction is paramount mostly to where you're trying to go next. If you're trying to do something on the top side, then I would probably implore you to make this series of exchanges. Get thick and then just move that way. But this is very bad feeling for black. Black feels like he gets duped.
Mm-hmm.
So I can sort of see why you play this one.
Yeah. Plus, I felt it worked good against equal gods, so I was like, I'll just play it again.
Yeah, this extension is a big move. It kind of makes a Miai of A and B.
Hmm.
White should defend probably B. Okay, knight's move. This is interesting. Kosumi is my first impression. If black can't get out easily with this move, and I can attack like this, I think it's better. Just because for Don players, right, when black is able to sort of get this result by Sente, and let's just have black make all the bad exchanges, right? Leaving this weakness left over is painful,
Hmm.
right? Just the fact that there is a cut there, because that means black can attack in a much more severe way. And if black is already able to attack from center, then this does not feel good for white, like at all. So I would say in this position, knight's move, white's going to have to be careful. He's probably going to owe a move on the right side. Okay, black goes for this one. I'm more used to seeing the attachment directly, but you can do the jump as well, I think. And just in this case, white gets the peep, black connects, and then white seals from the outside.
Hmm.
And when white goes here, what's the plan?
These are the type of fights that you'll see where I just lose. Like maybe I just leave the weak group alone when I think it's fine. So for me, like my plan would be just to keep jumping forward.
Right.
um, yeah, no worries,
It's like
man. I know
here,
it's late
white's attacking like strong side to weak side.
Hmm.
So this is very common with Lodon players. They do this all the time.
Mm-hmm.
We typically want to go weak to strong because, like, even yes, black has the peep. White has a Neek and Toby or Knight's move or large Knight's move to be strong against black, and white's defending the biggest weakness, which is this one, right? So much stronger attack for white. That's why, like in general, black wants to settle actively by leaning on the white position, right? White's never going to play these bad exchanges to cut because this crushes his outside and he's going to die with p4. So clearly, we don't have to worry about that. Then the next cut we look at is 2, but he can't cut from the 4 side because of 5, and if he plays this one, he dies also. And whoops, he's likely going to die also if connecting cut works, right? So in this type of position with connecting cut, like black has many ways, where black can get ahead of white in the sacrifice and then break the right side.
Hmm.
So we're not really worried about 2. And then with 3, or with this version of 2, we back off, and yeah, this one gives up more territory, but this one is also better prepared for dealing with the right side,
Mm-hmm.
right? So even though we gave up a lot of points, 16 to 24 points, we're also getting an attack out of the exchange, and we still have white's thin position to exploit on the top side. Where do we think a fight on the right side is going to go? Like, we're going to seal from the center or attack from the right side. Where's white moving?
Mm-hmm.
There. But if we've got Sentes against that position, that's another no-brainer fight for us because they're effectively moving towards our own stones. They're gonna get overloaded at some point. And again, the key here, the only thing black has to worry about is the group at 1, 3, and 5. Right? Everything else is strong. But here you're giving him the chance because now you're the one completely surrounded and his outside position's improving. Which was where you had the biggest chance to reverse. But then he gives the chance back to you. This is good for black, right? Because now black can cover. Or if you want to do it like the super strong way, you can play the knight's move and go this way. And then after this, you can just attack the whole thing. Right? And this is going to be painful. He can't really bump you, right? Because if he bumps, he's just dying. And if he tries to play something like this, then black might even be in a position to consider pushing and cutting. Right? And again, where's white running?
Yeah, towards the stones, black's profiting, which happens
Right.
somewhat similar in the game, but not at the level you brought it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay, so you attack and extend and force the bamboo and then attack. Good, 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 good. Good, good, good. I would argue maybe even go closer. Do you need to save these stones?
I thought I did, but yeah,
Oh, no,
you can
no.
see you can.
If he goes after like this, you can save
Okay, I was gonna
because you
say
have a follow up.
you can see a lot of my problems is just saving a lot of stones that I don't need to. Right?
Yeah,
We've
but
talked
here
about
this
this a few
is
times.
right. This is a little soft. This
Mm.
this press. Oh, and then you played inside move. Ugh. Ugh. Better way to defend the position is one.
Gotcha. Yeah.
But at this point, you're not trying to play this. You're trying to go from the outside. You want to cut him off.
Hmm.
You need to find some value in some situation where you can sort of cut white in some way.
I
I
attempted.
don't it doesn't look like it actually works here, sadly, but you need something in order to make this type of exchange justified.
Mm.
Like otherwise, you defend the side something like this, and then white gets out, and you're the one under attack. All of a sudden, it reversed. Like all of a sudden, it reverses. N3. So you can play this. Like let's just make an easy example and steal the corner. But the problem is you're going to have to come back and gote. And the bottom is not really the topic of conversation in the fighting. White is needing to deal with the thinness here, and also the fight between these groups on the side is way bigger than the territory gain and lost on the bottom. Black would look at N3 if it helps make the center group stronger by weakening white, but white's just going to defend the local position and give up the territory on the bottom. So I think right now, when the topic is group safety, it's a bit inappropriately timed. Maybe AI might say a little different, but I think for human, it's hard to do that. And black should really be focusing on the key important part of the board, which here they are. But this move I don't like. I don't like this move at all. Again, he's punishing you with this, right? So if you can't push, then this is already a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
Right at this point, you almost want to even consider giving up the corner.
That would have been something.
Right. But it's also Gote. You have to spend one more move to kill him.
Mm.
Right. If he gets to take the whole corner swing and Sente and then defend, is it actually better for black? I don't know. Maybe. Black has a lot of points. I think it's going to come down to how black handles the upper left.
Mm.
You know, because black can resume operation on the bottom also and take points away there. I think maybe you could do the trade. But I think if it's a position like this where white gets to make the exchange for free and then come out and no risk, then I think it's good for white.
Mm.
Like that exchange is passive. Whoa. What? This is not a good move. Because now white's made himself heavy. If black is forcing white out in an exchange like this, like how is white going to handle this? Can he afford to play this way? Seems strange to me to not defend this. This is like no-brainer snap. You play this to connect back, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because now there's no cut. Like this, you can defend the cut or defend both cuts like this, right? So when he doesn't do that, like this better be absolute damn sure Sente to kill you, and you better read the capturing race, because if not, then you need to surround him. Either this one or this one.
Mm.
Like get this in first before you defend the corner. Nope. At this point, this is already a good exchange for white. White goes back and plays C, and black takes a loss.
Mm. Did black
Okay, that's the
have to
move.
play Q2?
I think any move locally worked. Were you even dead if he got the first move? Do you know?
That's what I was wondering. I
Well, how
think
is he going to kill you? Let's think about it. How does he kill?
it is difficult. um, life and death is truly my weakness. My first thoughts are R1 and S1, but
S1, if it works, is generally better, right?
yeah.
And then it's really going to be starting at A and B. These are the two encroaching moves.
Mm-hmm.
that are gonna allow white in, right?
Hmm.
So let's take a look at this shape. Can black be killed here? What do we think? If
I
black
mean, to
plays like
me, it
this,
looks like, yeah. Hmm.
and then let's say black descends, how do you kill?
My first look at the vital points T5.
Okay, and if you're trying to live with black, how do you live?
Mm, I'm looking at T4.
Okay, continue.
For white, he can't take the cut now, but he can play on the outside. But even then you're just clamped down on him at S5. Hmm.
Right, and if like this, right, this one's like a ko, right?
Mm.
So because if you play like this Atari, he can't connect. He dies. You're alive.
Hmm.
And if he goes back to the corner, then you can capture. If he finishes connecting everything, then you're alive.
Do you? Okay, all right. I was gonna say, do you have to capture, or can you double clamp down on him?
Now another question is if it goes like this, what's this position?
Alive. Well, I was
Is
gonna
it?
say alive four shape, but it isn't.
This one can't be. This one can't
Yeah,
be.
this is dead.
Sometimes it can be a Seki, right?
Hmm.
So if like this and you can live this way, like if the cut doesn't work and you can force this exchange, then you can make the connection here and you have Seki and you're alive this way also.
Hmm.
This one is gonna have a ko. It's a ko for Seki.
Okay.
So if there's no risk to the life and death this way, right, then that means we have to start by shrinking the liberty first. But if we shrink it this way, black's alive, right? So when we can't save, we go here, black's alive, right?
Hmm.
So where's the threat to your life and death?
There isn't. There isn't one.
Finish it.
Yep.
Now, my challenge to you and to any player would be if you can't read how this group is dead, Tanuki. And if it is going to die, let your opponent show you and then you learn.
All right. I'll follow
That's the
that
best way to
advice.
get comfortable with these shapes.
Hmm.
If you can't read a way where it's dead and you can go, yeah, no, I can clearly see that's dead. If it's not clear, don't play it. Play
Hmm.
away. Yeah, and then here again, he's neglecting his position. A very weird choice to neglect your position. Like you can even peep and then go here, and then how is white escaping? White is dead. Pretty sure, right? Unless this works, but this is like capturing race, so difficult.
So this was the move
Mm,
I felt was the changing point. This 013, I think, was too aggressively trying to seal.
yeah, I think you have to do it from this side and offer him the means to come out,
Hmm.
and then look towards the next area, which is this.
Yeah, I overly, I tried to seal him in too aggressively, and this is where the whole
Uh-huh.
game changes. So at this point, I felt Black was actually leading. I wouldn't say fairly easy, but I felt like I was doing a good job against this guy. But
Yeah,
once this happened, then I was like, okay, now I'm in trouble.
yeah. Now you have to live.
Yeah.
Uh, okay, one eye. You escape. This attachment is a big move. No, 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 no. No, this is common trap. Whoops. A very, very common trap. Very seldom is this the right way. Only
Hmm.
if you can Hane double Hane and it's painful for white can you play this way. Otherwise, if you're just defending and white gets to play this for free, it's already better for white than if you had just extended down.
Gotcha.
Like this, he connects the shape, but you can take
Then
this
Black
point,
takes
right?
Sente. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then if he takes the base, then you can punish like this,
That,
right?
yeah.
But you need the Sagari. You need the Sagari to block the corner and put the pressure. Like this,
Yeah.
there's no pressure.
Hmm.
But the only way you can keep pressure from this point is if you start a ko, or maybe if this is a working variation where you can sort of get this shape and white doesn't have the means to play A. But other than that, it's a ko, and not a good one for you. Right.
Hmm.
Big. I wouldn't even necessarily extend as white. I think I would even just jump and give this to black. If black wants to play this, let him have it. I'll just take this. And I think this is like already white is fairly easy here.
Hmm.
Like it's not that you're doing bad on points, but it's just you lost a lot there.
Yeah, black
Like white's
having black
namely
is so
this.
painful.
This lost a lot. This
Hmm.
AB exchange. Yeah.
And then
So now you're
I was gonna
now you're
say
dead.
the last grievous thing I missed was him hitting the vital point at L14. I didn't realize that made the
Mhm.
cut work.
Yeah.
Once he hit that vital
Right.
point, I was like, well, once he cuts through, I was like, oh my god, okay, yep, game over.
Yeah, you have to prevent the push and cut.
Hmm.
Yeah, you have some tessages luckily that can help with that. Yeah, but need this must move.
Yeah, once he
That's
makes
a that's a very sort of common shape weakness.
yeah,
It's a good one to think about.
when I saw it in the aftermath, I was shocked. I missed it. Right, like
Hmm. Yeah, and so here black is just no way to catch up. And black is also not alive with this group now. Oof. And now black is dead with that group now. Oof. Probably. Maybe it's not dead, but it's very close to being dead. Oh, he did that one. If he wants to kill you, he can try to go here.
yeah. I mean, even with just
As
this
long
fill
as
in
he
the
can
middle,
get
it's
back to this move, he can go here. Ooh.
so.
Existence is pain.
So I have an idea of at least some of the most important parts. But can
Mhm.
you just give me a rundown? Would you say the most important lessons are out of this?
Yeah, so this one, identifying what your actual global strategy is going to be and making sure you're playing towards the right one.
Hmm.
Not saying that you didn't in this case, but just understand that A, B, C all have different ideas and use the stones differently. Think about what the board wants as well as what you want, and try to find the best use of your stones that already exist as well. Um, right. Then this one, um, punishing properly, right? Not
Hmm.
just giving white the sente to fix all of white's grievous errors, but actually using your advantages.
Yeah, I'm gonna study this one.
Yeah, and then this one, this pass move that I don't understand. Try to look for something more proactive. If you ever feel like you have to spend a move to build a side and Gote, it's probably wrong.
Hmm.
And then not punishing your opponent's misplays enough, right? Not recognizing where white's shape was thin and capitalizing on white's weaknesses.
Yeah,
Like you had
this.
several opportunities through the middle game to hit all of white's critical key weak points, and you didn't hit hardly any of them.
Hmm.
I don't actually think you hit any of them. Right, and this has been a reoccurring theme in a lot of the games, not just this one,
Hmm.
where you're not actually taking into account where your opponent is not good and breaking their position based on where their weaknesses are. Right, I think if you can just take a little bit more initiative against your opponent's weak areas and really practice good hangma there, then you can improve quite a bit. I think because right now the only difference in this game between you and him, you both made an equal number of like bad exchanges, but there's no reason why black can't win this game here, given the weak. Like white's got more weakness on the board than black does.
Hmm.
Like black's got a weakness at D12, a D11, and Q15, and none of those like there's no individual black stone that's weak, right? But all three of these white stones in these white positions can be taken advantage of in some way, shape, or form,
Hmm.
right? So you're not thinking about defense here. You need to be switching into a more proactive mindset of okay, my opponent's got all this stuff left behind. That's free real estate. How do I profit?
Yeah, I concede with Black's Wall. I should have capitalized on it more. Same with the
Right.
G4 cut would be much
Mhm.
more active.
Yeah,
This
and then
this
here leaning on his position.
Yeah, this is a nice little move here, but I did feel good about it, but only because he backtracked at L4, if I remember right.
Right, 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 right.
So like
And
here,
then
I
that
felt
became good
really
for you.
good. Yeah, yeah, here I
Right.
felt really good.
Hmm.
Uh,
Yeah, and I would say before that, probably still getting this would be worthwhile exchange.
hmm,
Because if you're able to force this, he's going to get the territory anyway. But if you're able to force this, it's a stronger attack.
yeah,
Hint,
it's
hint,
very
wink,
nice.
wink. Right. So
Hmm,
leaning, right? Look for where your opponent's strong when you're weak, and use their strength to your advantage. That's an asset. White's strong move in this position because here it's 1-1. Both white and black have a group to deal with, right?
hmm,
So in the 1-1 situation, when you're thinking, "Am I okay? Is he okay?" Neither one of you are okay. Then the first thing you look for is where are the strong stones I can lean on to make my group stronger to make his group weaker. If you get stronger, he's weaker inherently, right?
hmm.
Because the strength of the weak groups is measured relative to the strength of the groups around them. The corner's alive, Q5 is alive for the most part. You're never going to attack the bottom side white stones. So lean on the bottom side white stones and get all the free profit you can get from that, the free strength, and then use that against the right side group. Because then it becomes a situation where black will have no burden and white will have the only burden, and white will never be able to win the game.
Hmm.
Right.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense. It
Yeah.
has.
And then this move is kind of well, this is only good if you continue going forward, right?
Hmm,
Otherwise, you need to play from the other side.
hmm,
And then for this one, be more aggressive. Use your two stones aggressively, right? Doesn't matter if he captures these because the capture itself is going to be inherently small,
hmm.
right? Let me ask you a question. How many eyes does white have?
Mm, well, I see the one big one with the three unsettled, but
Yeah, this is dead shape. It's already dead.
yeah, yep.
And they don't need to be saved for white to be for white to have died there.
Mm,
You know, maybe you even force this first just to make sure that Q8 can never be anything.
hmm.
Like white can live because of this. But like you can see, like even in some situation, it's not clear that white's going to be alive. So you don't ever have to save these unless they're important
Hmm.
to chase, right? But white is nearby. You're not trying to help white connect. You're trying to keep white separate. So you need to play the separating direction, split. Right.
Yeah.
I'd say those. I would say those.
All right, Raven. This has been a very long stream. It's 4.5 hours.
Sorry.
No. It's great. I mean, I learned a lot. I have to rewatch these and edit them and put them on YouTube for me to really get these. But you've been adding new moves to my new tool set every time we do a review, which is great. Um, yeah, is there anything you want to say to anybody before? I'm sure this is the end. So
Well, I mean, like I said, if anyone's looking for a Go teacher, I started teaching full time. I would always appreciate more students. I enjoy teaching. So yeah, if you want to get better in your Go journey and you're searching that avenue for something, please consider.
yeah, and you said today and is the last day, right, to get into the new class? Because today's
People can always join late, but if they want to be for the November 1st lesson, which is going to be tomorrow, then they need to or yeah, it's gonna be today's what, Monday now because it's 12:26 in the morning for me.
yeah, October thirty
Yeah, if they want
first.
to if they want to get in on Monday's class on November 1st, then yeah, they need to get in. If they want to be in for the first class, it's going to be a good first class.
And is this
you know
class gonna be the raffle too, the one that you mentioned about the floorboard?
the students that are in these classes are entered into this raffle, yes.
Mm,
So for those that don't know, I do giveaways to give back to my students sometimes. And this Christmas, we're giving away a 7.7-inch Shinkaya floorboard. Um, so yeah, the people that are in the class before the raffle on the end of November are eligible to win it.
yeah, that's
So
That's an insane price.
Yeah,
That's something I wanted to mention because I would love a floorboard. I had one and I had to sell it before I moved to the Philippines. It was very sad.
that's
Um,
crazy.
yeah. Well, guys, thanks for being night owls and happy
Mhm.
Halloween. I mean, it's officially
Yeah, happy
Halloween today.
Halloween. Woohoo! Happy
if
spooky day.
if you haven't followed, please follow. If you have, I appreciate it. And you can check out my YouTube either later tonight or tomorrow, and I'm sure that some of these videos will be up.
Mm.
All right, guys, take it easy.
Take care. Goodbye, everybody.